Well, listen, for decades, Hanson have been the band of brothers with millions of fans all around the world. And now they are celebrating the 20th anniversary of their album, Underneath, with new music and a North American tour.
So we are thrilled to have them in the studio with us today. Taylor, Zach, and Isaac Hanson, welcome back to the social.
Welcoming us back.
I mean, you know what? Like, your first album, Middle of Nowhere, came out 3 decades ago. I don't even know how that's possible. How is that possible, right? It just, everyone just gets older immediately. But you've celebrated so many milestones together since then. So talk about what does this 20th anniversary of this album, Underneath, mean to you?
Well, I mean, a lot of things. One, of course, like you said, time does go by for all of us, unfortunately. And we have marked those history. But 20 years ago was a big milestone. It was a continual choice about what we're doing next. We launched a record company, left one world and started another. And really, we bet on the fans. I mean, you guys that have stuck around and showed up show after show. We've made many laps around the world on tours since then. And this album, I mean, it was kind of the coming-of-age album for us. It was crossing into our 20s, it was building something new again, and there's a lot of nostalgia for that. I mean, and we're really just grateful the fact that we get to be here this many years later and still have so many excited fans and frankly get to do what we love.
That's so cool. It's so cool. So, Zach, Underneath was also the first album that you decided to release independently. And I think this idea of sort of coming of age and doing your own thing. And prior to that, back in '97, just 5 minutes ago, you had a little song that made a little bit of an impact in the world called MMMBop.
MMMBop.
Obviously went mainstream all over the world. After that, though, you know, perhaps some butting heads with label execs. You walked away from what, you know, a lot of people would have said was the security of a major record label. So how do you reflect on that time and taking that big risk?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very big risk. We tried very hard not to leave the label, to convince people and bring them into kind of where we were creatively. But in the end, I think what we felt was that even MMMBop, as widely successful as it was all over the world, you know, kind of as big of a record as you can ever have, we still felt like we were a little bit outsiders, like we weren't quite in our time, you know, like right after that is a lot of produced pop music and a lot of dancing, and we're like, you're this band, kind of like, we're a garage band.
You don't want to see us dance.
I am a great dancer, okay? And so I think in the end, we just said, hey, we just got to continue. We got here because we did what we love, and it's a little bit scary. In the documentary about that album, it's called Strong Enough to Break, Isaac and Taylor are talking, and I think Taylor says, what's there to lose except, like, a lot of money? I said, like, you know, we'll just be back to where we started, which is in our garage, just doing it because we love it.
But we're not back in our garage. We're here back in Toronto many, many times.
Like, I'm curious. Obviously, you perform a lot of new songs. You do perform the classics. So what is it like when you dip into those classic songs to sort of, does it take you back in time? Are you resurrecting some of those teenage feelings yourself?
Well, you know, I hate to sound kind of a little bit boring in a certain way, but I think we were always a little bit serious for our age, even though we don't take ourselves too seriously as far as telling jokes and things of that nature. But as far as the music was concerned, we were always, you know, songs like Weird, songs like I Will Come to You, songs like MMMBop, frankly, you know, all have kind of intensely melancholy qualities to them. But I will say, when we did our symphony tour back in, what was it, 2018 and 19, every single time we played MMMBop, I got teary-eyed. Because there's the lyric that says, so hold on to the ones that really care, because in the end, they'll be the only ones there. And every single time we hit that lyric, I would always get a little choked up. Because looking out at the audience who'd been there with us for, you know, more than 2 decades, and getting close to 3 now, it really hit me in a really cool way. And also something about the whole orchestra playing behind you in this very beautiful melancholy thing. It brought a lot of emotion.
It brings it back to the song. I mean, I think that the savior for us is we were always the songwriters. We were always the players. And so as you go through time, you're not like, well, that was that other person. That was us. That was our story. And just like we all go through life, you can say this is me now, but it's really it's a huge deal to say that is me. That's just me from another time. And so you write these songs hoping you can sing them for years, and it's evolved. It just has more meaning now.
You know what else has evolved when you guys started Versus Today?
Yeah.
Is something called social media.
Yes.
It didn't exist back in the 90s era the way it does today.
Yes.
So Taylor, you know, obviously you've amassed fans for decades, kind of like the old-fashioned way, you know?
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way, you put out the music and you buy the album. How has social media changed fandom? And is it always for the good? Is there a dark side to it?
Man.
What have you experienced?
Well, I would just say launching now, it's challenging in a completely different way. I mean, we launched right and as the emergence of all of the connectivity of the internet was happening. It's really what allowed us to build a record company and be independent is we saw that in the early, 20 years ago when people
The labels were like, no one will ever be able to communicate with you. What are you talking about? You're like, have you heard of the internet?
Where they are.
Yeah.
So we saw the real birth of that happening, and that connected us to a whole generation. I think artists today have an incredible advantage that we didn't have, which is that they can go directly to the audience.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that you got to figure out, I would just say that the main challenge for artists today is to figure out how to have a voice.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. How to have a voice of your own and not just be constantly in FOMO and constantly in like, okay, what's going on? Who are you doing? What's popular right now? That's always been true. It's just we're all way more ADD now.
Yeah.
It's even harder to say, put the phone down.
Well,
Put the phone down.
maybe it's like dating, right? Now you have to date your fan base, right? And you have to know when to be unavailable and when to come on strong. And I think that's maybe the part that's most hard to figure out. People think, I've got to see him all the time. I've got to see him today. I've got to see him tomorrow. I've got to see him.
What are they thinking about?
What, you just calm down.
Nobody knew what Led Zeppelin had for breakfast, okay?
If they
and they didn't, and it was better.
I mean, Robert Plant wasn't like,
that way.
hey, look what I had for breakfast, snap.
It's true.
Food
It's
photo.
Rock God eating Frosted Flakes. No.
You know, here's what I love, that we're kind of jumping back, and then we're in the present, we're jumping back. And it kind of gave us an idea that because you guys came to fame in the 90s, and there's so much 90s nostalgia out there right now, I don't know if you all feel it is everywhere. So why don't we play a little game, shall we?
Sure.
Grab these paddles, and we're gonna play a game called Love It or Leave It Behind in the 90s. Okay, love it or leave it. So we're gonna start with a classic. So love it or leave it. Oh, we're gonna get a paddle. Oh, that is so nice of you.
Gotta make sure she's a part of it.
That's right. Audience is in on it. You're in on it.
Yep.
Frosted Tips. Love it or leave it.
Leave it.
Oh, leave it.
That's a big leave.
Is that everybody leave it? Leave it.
You're leaving it.
Done.
Did you do it? Did you do it?
No.
No.
Okay,
We were all
Is this
natural.
called frosting?
No, it's
Actually,
not
Taylor frosted it now.
Natural frosting.
All right, let's move on to another flash from the past. Okay, so this is inflatable furniture. Love it.
Oh, I love it.
So
This is as a man that is really focused on the simplicity of that function. Quick.
when I got married and we moved into our first house, we ordered our furniture and it wouldn't come for a couple months, so we bought all inflatable furniture for the
Are you
house.
kidding me? Are you kidding me?
All right.
I just don't want to
Awesome.
wear.
Okay, let's see how many else we can
Okay, let's
fit
do
in.
it. Yeah.
A quick one. Next up. The Disc Man. Love it or leave it?
Well, I would say love it.
Love it.
Really?
Yeah.
You're leaving it though.
Well, I'm leaving because mine would always be like, yep, because I was just too excited.
At the time, it was
You couldn't
epic.
stop moving around.
I love that. I wish we could do more. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, everybody. Listen, at this point, I think you've all been here many, many times. I hope that you still keep coming back, because I hope you're still making music for decades to come.
Thank you.
Thanks for making time. And Thank
Thanks.
you so much. Okay, oh, yes. Okay, this is the key point. If you want to catch the guys on their Underneath Experience tour, you can head to their website for all ticketing details.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.